Hello and welcome to the weekly Rocksmith developer Twitch stream. I am your host for just today. I am Brian McCune. I am the manager of musical content. I'm taking over for Dan Amrick while he is in Montreal on business. This week we have our first third pack from an artist, and it is Green Day, Hall of Fame, pop punk, however you want to label them, but iconic songwriters. And we have 5 more songs for you today. So let's take a look at the trailer, and we'll be back with developers in just a few minutes.
A gunshot rings out at the station. Another urchin snaps and left dead on his own. It makes me wonder why I'm still here. But such dreams and it's now feeling like my home, and I'm never gonna go. Pay attention to the cracks and the broken homes. Some call it some call it nice. I wanna take you through a wasteland I'd like to call my own. Welcome to paradise. Insurgents
So there you have it. 5 more tracks from Green Day. I think that makes them the most represented artist in the Rocksmith library at 14 tracks. We had X-Kid on the disc for Rocksmith 2014. We had a 3-pack right after we came out. And we've done 2 more 5-packs since then. So Step Aside, Rise Against, previous record holder at 13 songs. And I'm really excited that we are going to get to play 4 of the tracks for you today. And with me today are some developers. We have David Stevens to my left, QA Ninja.
Hi, Dan.
I am not Dan.
I dig this new look you've got.
Thank you. I grew a beard.
You should show Brian McCune. He'd probably be flattered.
Oh, yeah.
I would say the beard has got to go and either let go of the watch or the plaid. But otherwise, you're good.
Well, thanks a lot, Sam Schwartz, over on my far left.
Hi, everybody.
On your right, Sam is a note tracker on the Rocksmith team. So I'm assuming since we have QA Ninja and note tracker that David did the work on this song that we're about to play.
Work, but
He did more,
not the work.
You did do some work.
This is a Shane joint.
That's right.
So he did more work on it than I probably did. I might have done. I think I did a review for at least one of the charts. I think I actually did the lead in the rhythm review.
So this is a Shane Gann joint. So what's on tap? What are we gonna play?
I'm gonna play bass.
That's good because you have a bass in your hands. And you're going to play guitar. I actually told you should play guitar.
You did.
And why did I tell you should play guitar?
I'm not sure.
Well, no, I feel like when the note trackers, most of the time they pick...
What song are we playing? Has anybody talked about that?
We will in a moment.
We'll get there.
But no, it's just that a lot of times David comes in as a second player and note trackers a lot of times
that's true.
pick
That's
guitar.
true.
So we don't get to see David Stevens on guitar that often, so I wanted him to show off his skills. So you better show off and represent.
No pressure.
Music is about competition and being impressive and not at all about being expressive. Take the inverse of that, and that's what I think music should be. Express, don't impress. All right?
I totally don't
talking
follow.
Greek
I don't
to
follow.
him.
Yeah.
So
I play guitar, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're gonna play. You guys are gonna play "Welcome to Paradise" off of Green Day's Dookie record. This song actually appears on a couple records. This was on Kerplunk before, and they re-recorded it for the Dookie record, which I know a thing or two about. We'll get into that later. But yeah, so do you want to say anything before we get started, or?
This bass line was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I know Mike Durant is a great bass player, but it's one of those things when you get in there and I was like, whoa, I got hit with one that I wasn't ready for. So I had to practice it a few times.
Yeah.
But,
so let us know when that's about to happen.
Yeah.
During the song.
It's in the bridge.
Or just scream while it's happening. Don't do that.
I won't scream.
We're in an office. We have a shared space. We probably shouldn't be screaming. There's people trying to make other things happen around here. So let's, without further ado, let's just take it away. I think this is the only one we have in E-flat standard for today.
That sounds right.
So once you're done, take your guitar and get out of here.
I'm going to do that. It's actually a D sharp.
Oh, fair enough. Let's get going.
Welcome to paradise. A good train rings out at the station. Another urchin snaps and left it on his own. It makes me wonder why I'm still here. Those sunshine dreams and it's now feeling like my own, and I'm never gonna go. Welcome to paradise.
Just breathe.
No, it's not that bad. This is why you practice, so you can breathe. Welcome to paradise.
That was awesome.
So much fun.
That was exhilarating.
That was so much fun.
I love that
Great
song.
job, both of you. Let's see how we did. Oh, 93 and 98. Fantastic.
I'll take it.
Streaks, 249 and 392.
Ooh,
One of you is
392.
going to be a superstar, and one of you did a masterful performance. So I'll let you all decide. Good job. More fist bumps. Yeah.
fist bumps.
So that was, I'm assuming it was the instrumental interlude led by the bass. That was the thing you had to practice?
Yes, that was one of them. But like just the fills in general, like, you know, that was
Yeah.
tricky the first couple times. And then there's one that like right at the end.
Yeah,
It
that one with the walk
it
down.
just kind of comes out of the out
Yeah.
of nowhere, and you're just like ah.
Yeah. That, yeah.
So
but
good.
but the and then there's a tricky thing. So he does another fill on top of that. So
No, he
So he
throws,
does- he
goes
throws
all,
in- he
all
throws
the
the
way up to
octave in there.
orange.
It's great.
yeah,
So Riff Repeater is your friend.
Yes,
for
it
that.
This
Yeah.
is actually an album I cut my teeth on when I would learn to play when I was a kid. Every song on there is great for both instruments.
yeah. Ooh.
So, by the way, BBQ Kyle says, I always feel bad. I'm bad with names and can never remember the names of who's playing. Can we get some graphics made? Maybe. But if you're just joining us or if you've already forgotten, this is David Stevens and that is Sam Schwartz. And I am specifically not Dan Amrich. I am Brian McCune.
That's
and I'm
correct.
hosting for today. So, Kyle, we'll see. I'm going to make no promises, but it doesn't seem like it should be too difficult. But it is more work. Anyway, anything that you want to talk about with the guitar part or more for the bass?
It's really great for chord shifts. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward pattern. I would say if you want to play it legitimately, play from the shoulder. You know, 'cause he does this.
yeah,
Like
it's a
you're
good,
scrubbing
it's a good
something.
way to wear yourself out.
And
So.
you know, the beat and the energy in the song, you just kind of can't help it.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that. Sam, anything else about any tips for people who might want to climb this mountain that is this bass part?
I think it's harder. I think it might actually be harder with a pick to play this part.
Yeah.
There's something about like because he switches strings so many times.
Yeah.
That, like
You play
I feel-
finger with
it-
fingers, right?
I usually play finger. Like every so often I do play with a pick, but like but it's this particular song for me was I think it was easier just because he jumps around a lot. So I would try it both ways. But, yeah.
Yeah, since this was the only track that we have from the Dookie record in this pack, I do want to just make a quick little aside to say that there is a video out there on the internet on YouTube of Sam singing with a full symphony orchestra my arrangement of Eminius Sleepus.
That's true.
which we did for the show. So he did that at the Fox Theater, and he got to sing that. For Green Day was in the audience for that show, and so that was a pretty special moment for us and for Sam. Yeah,
that was a funny experience. It was like I got a call. What was it like? Maybe the Saturday before.
Yeah.
I think the show was what, on a Friday or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a call like a week before, like on Saturday, and the guy who was supposed to sing it couldn't make it for the rehearsal, and I thought I was just going to cover for him for the rehearsal. So I get a call, and it's like, hey, can you memorize this arrangement and sing it in front of an orchestra for this rehearsal? And it was funny because I played with a lot of people from that orchestra.
And myself, Travis.
Right, yeah,
some
you
others,
and Travis and a couple of
Yeah.
other mutual friends. So like, I went out there and they were all kind of like looking at me funny because they didn't know I could sing. They just knew I could play guitar. They're like, why is he standing there with a microphone in front of everybody? Like, they probably just thought I was a jerk, which is not far from the truth. But I ended up doing that rehearsal, and it was really cool at Fantasy Studios. And then it turned out the guy couldn't make it for the show. And then the next day, you're like, yeah, so do you want to sing in front of like 2,000 people in Green Day without your guitar in front of a 90-piece orchestra? And I was like, yeah. That sounds cool.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah, why would you ever say no?
Why
to
would
that
you say no to
experience?
that?
Well, except for fear. Yeah. So, but Sam did it, and he killed it, and that video's out there somewhere. So I encourage you to look it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a tribute record that I was the music director for. It was we basically hired as many bands as there are tracks on the album, and we recreated it in a ton of different styles. And the link is on Bandcamp. I'm sure Doug or Elliot is someone linking to that now. So check that out when you get a chance. That was a really special project and a big milestone in my life. And I'm glad I got to share that with Sam and Travis and a lot of great friends. So
Yeah, it's and the album, the music is amazing too.
a little later,
It's
we'll
mind-blowing.
pull up a picture and I'll show you a picture for that. But for now, unless there's anything else, I think we're ready to give some stuff away.
We should do that.
All right, so we've got an Ernie Ball prize pack for you. This is the standard Rocksmith giveaway, but it's a lot of great stuff. So we got some regular Slinky strings. We got some Slinky bass strings. We have some Ernie Ball picks. It's a pack of medium picks, and also the Rocksmith Pink Edition, Skullboy Edition picks, which you can only get through winning it here or by finding Dan on the street and making him hand it over. Also in there, we got a guitar strap. We've got a peg winder to help you wind up your pegs faster, and the Ernie Ball Wonder Wipes, which I am a big fan of. Make sure you keep your guitar clean. If your guitar is clean and in good shape, you're gonna be more likely to play it. If you've got a lot of gunk on the fretboard, or if you've got rusty strings, it may not be as fun to play. It may not feel good. So take care of your instrument, and it'll take care of you. Is the lesson embedded in that? So follow Doug Lilly's instruction. He's the UB Vertigo in the chat, and he's I'm sure you are all saying raffle and waffle and scrambled eggs and whatever else in there. But only exclamation point raffle is the only way to enter, and you can only win if you are also following the channel. So that is that, and we have some new players, as I'm sure you heard. Some calibration happening to my left. I have a couple new fresh faces. We don't yet have the graphics. BBQ Kyle, we don't have those ready to go yet. But to my left is Brian Shu, who's a note tracker.
Hello.
And to my further left is Chris Wu. Chris Wu is the international brand manager, right?
That's product manager.
Close. International product manager for Rocksmith.
Yes, and anything coming out of the studio,
Cool.
pretty much.
So-
South Park as well.
Yeah.
would be the latest thing we've also done.
Yes, South Park, The Fractured But Whole. That is the name of the game. The name of the game is more Green Day tunes also. Brian Shu, I'm going to assume you did the note track for this one?
Yep.
What'd you do? You did 2 songs. What'd you do? He did two songs from this pack. Which one are you going to play? for us?
Holiday. We're going to play Holiday, and I don't remember the other one that I did.
Oh, that's a good sign. That is a great sign. I'm very proud of you in this moment. I'm just going to let it hang there. I'm not even going to tell. I'm not going to address it. We're just going to let him worry. We're about to play Holiday from American Idiot, which was a huge, huge, huge album. I mean, Green Day was already big in 2004. That just like this album, I don't even know how many times platinum it went, but you should look it up because it was monstrously huge for them.
Yeah.
And then spurred a Broadway musical after that as well. So you're going to sing and dance for us, since I mentioned Broadway musical.
Sweet. Let
Cool.
me get my mic ready.
All right. So Shu's going to play Holiday. Anything that we need to know going into it before we play?
Not particularly. The lead guitar track is mostly power chord stuff, and then there's a solo in it, which is really tasteful and nice. The one thing that I have noticed about the last tune and this tune is they kind of use they kind of break the chords apart. In the last tune, Welcome in Paradise, during the bridge, they take the octave out, and he just plays the root, fifth, and the third.
You want to do
kind
that
of a
plugged in? We're
spread-
going to give us some
kind of
tone,
a spread
Cody.
triad.
Do that again. Nice.
I mean, if you kind of do, if
Sounds
you do,
like a Bach cello suite.
yeah, like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, kind of Eric Johnson.
Yeah, cool.
But in this tune, they kind of do the same thing, except they drop the fifth this time. So if you're looking at the chords and you're kind of confused at what that new shape is, if you haven't seen that chord before, it's actually just the same major chord, but broken apart. So they take
Leaving
one
the fifth
note.
out. Okay.
Yeah, they take the
Cool.
note out. So the intro is basically the chord progression, but without the fifth.
That is very insightful. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with our audience.
Yeah, I
And
didn't know that
and
they
I
did
mean
it that much, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
well, that's
something I
cool. Anything, Chris, on the bass that we need to know going into it?
It's fairly accessible. I think it's fun. It stays on the
Yeah.
l- two low strings, so it's pretty simple. I'm gonna pick it as the software suggests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Yeah, let's take it away. I really do love all these bass parts. I know I'm a little biased because of my relationship with the band, so to speak, or their music. But enjoy. We're about to play Holiday. If you're just joining us, I'm Brian McCune. I'm manager of musical content.
Staying known to man.
Shake it out. Keep going. Don't stop. Wow.
That really hurt.
That was an insanely long sustain.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And you could still hear it on the record. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Great job, both of you. 97 and 92. Question from Sombrez Shu. Do they actually play Holiday like that live where they drop the fifth? I've never seen it charted like that.
Yes.
Yes is the answer. So it goes without saying that we do a lot of, well, I'm going to say it. But it goes without, we research a lot of live performances. YouTube is a great resource for the note trackers, and we definitely reference that, especially as it pertains to which position a chord is changed in. So, Shu, in doing the song, I'm sure you looked at live footage, and sometimes music videos have even close-ups of hands if we're lucky. But
well, even sometimes like the stuff they do on the record can be different than how they play it live.
Definitely.
For simplicity. Like
Definitely.
a lot of the times they play it a lot simpler live. So maybe like a couple years down the road, they were just like, yeah, or maybe they forgot to play their own song or something.
yeah, you just do it enough times, you're just like, I just want to
Play it a different way.
Yeah, it's such a subtle change too that
Yeah.
it's like, does it really take away that much or add that much to have it? It is just it's a slight textural change.
It's a color thing. Like if I don't know if I have sound, but you can definitely hear it's like that's quite a bit beefier than this.
Can you sing the note that's missing? That note. Yeah. And now he has sung and danced for us.
Okay.
So now that note's missing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can really tell on the minor chord. But yeah, it's just kind of a slight color change. I mean, you could play it as those chords if you want. And
Yeah, and it wouldn't be wrong by any accounts. Yeah.
You still get the same general sound.
It's the same chord. It's just missing an element or adding an element.
Yeah.
Will,
Actually, I do have a note on this. Purists may note that on the American Idiot album, this song and Boulevard of Broken Dreams are like one track,
correct.
like back to back.
Correct.
Any comment on separating them or anything to say about that? I
we-
mean, practically, I feel like that, it's what most people probably think about it, but I'm wondering about your
Basically-
curation opinion.
Buy a second copy of Rocksmith, then you could do the transition like super fast.
That is one way to go about it. No, they were released, even though they appeared that way on the record, they were released as singles and charted at different times. And so some people know them as one long track, Holiday / Boulevard of Broken Dreams, or I might have it backwards.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, and that's the way I had it. But yeah, as singles, we just felt like that's what we asked for because we didn't know that we would be able to get both. A lot of times when we request songs, we ask for a lot. We ask for everything that you think that we should be asking for. Sometimes we don't get a response. Sometimes we do, and sometimes it's just down to one publisher or one kind of thing. So we get what we get, and we try to get everything. We try to go for the best. And the other thing is that, like, even though I know Jesus of Suburbia is like a 9-minute song, that is actually that is an epic song. It's basically 3 Green Day songs in one, and I believe that Pody will be talking about that later. Oh, yeah. But this was this had a life outside of existing as one track. The 2 songs as one track. So that was part of the reason also. I believe that Boulevard of Broken Dreams has a capo, and this one does not. And that is also a case to be made for having them be separate. But I think that is actually just happenstance.
Yeah. I did try to pay homage to that in the preview video where I have Holiday lead into Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
That's a little fun fact for you guys that in the audience, guys and girls in the audience, that Chris Wu prepares all the preview videos, and he's the one playing guitar and bass.
That may not be entirely true.
It's mostly true. It's mostly true. Let's just stick with that.
Yes, it has been true in the past on certain videos.
You know what, when we edit this and put it on YouTube, we should just cut it when we finish the song and merge it into.
Let's do that. Let's cut out this boring talky part where you get to interact with human beings.
I will say the actual transition between the songs, like when it's one track, it's actually again a very long sustain.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like a super long sustain.
Yeah. So I guess you could do like a fade in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you have that second copy of Rocksmith and running it on multiple monitors.
Do it.
As Brian,
Do it
Brian
if you're a real fan.
as Brian Shu implores you to.
If you're a real fan of Rocksmith or Green Day.
I think that's going to do it for this segment, unless you guys have anything else. Shu says do it.
Do it. Shoo it.
Just shoo it. Okay, that's good.
Have fun.
So we're going to take a little mini break, an intermission. We have a video for you, and since Dan prepared it, I don't know what it is. I forgot, and I'm not going to sweat it, but because you'll see it, and then we'll experience it together, and we'll swap out musicians and play the second half of the show. So enjoy the mysterious video.
On Rocksmith, I was an environment artist, and I was able to work on the loft space that's in the beginning of the game. My favorite part in Rocksmith is learn a song, because this is extending to being a musician and just really getting into learning material and trying to repeat it and get it down all the way to the end. I really believe that Rocksmith has helped me become a better drummer by allowing me to use my left hand more. That's one of my weakest hands, playing drums, and using my fingers, so that allows me to build up a little more finger strength and whatnot and get even more rhythm in my hands, in my playing. I'm really drawn to the art form and telling a story, the emotional side to it, and just the phrases and how things blend together. And that just stems as far as art, cooking, to any other aspects that are kind of artistic, I guess. I've been playing drums now for 20 years, and I started playing about when I was 15. A group of guys of us from high school decided, hey, let's go and start a band. And we went over to one of their houses, and their father had a barn right outside their house that was kind of a studio, and we all kind of picked an instrument and just went. And I was the one who just got a cast off my arm and thought it was a good idea to try to play the drums. When the San Francisco team came to our office to talk to us about working on the game, there was kind of a meet and greet that we had. You know, just kind of had a good time, got to know each other better and whatnot. So I was just thinking, hey, let's just see what'll happen. So I talked to their producer and I said, hey, do you guys ever have your development guys, you know, get songs into the game or whatever? And totally expecting a no, a big no here. And he just said, yeah, you know, we do that. The inspiration for Snarling the Beast is kind of based off of a lot of psychedelic 70s rock, Michael Schenker kind of riffs, that sort of thing that our guitar player is really into. Now that the game is done, we're really excited. The whole band's excited that Snarling the Beast actually made it into the game. It's finished. We've seen it in there. It's amazing. You can unlock our song by just continuing to complete missions. As you progress through the game, you'll eventually get there, and it just becomes something that you get. So it's a good feeling to really feel like, for my career as an artist, you know, not just a 3D artist, but an artist in general, now I can say I actually have done something on the music side of things.
And mystery solved. That was a wonderful video. If you're just joining us, I am Brian McCune. I'm the manager of musical content, developer here at Rocksmith. And you're watching the Green Day 3 Rocksmith developer Twitch stream. And with me for the next tune are two note trackers. Yes, we have Anthony Martinez, senior note tracker, and
Hello.
Travis Kindred,
Also no tracker.
bassist.
and Travis Kindred, who is also here.
So which one of you two gents did the next tune we're going to play?
I note tracked this song,
Yeah, what is it going to be?
Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're doing it in order. Holiday the Boulevard.
Yeah.
And what a fantastic song. What a great album.
Yeah, great album, great record.
Yeah. The first time I ever listened to it was in, I was with my friends. We were in a very small Honda Civic, and there were
As
like
opposed to the
five
very
of us.
large Honda Civic.
Well, I should have said crammed. There were five of us in there, and we were driving down on the one, going to Santa Cruz for the weekend just to hang out. And that album blew my mind.
Super good.
Yeah, we listened listened to it front to back, and it was fantastic.
That's funny. The first time I listened to American Idiot in its entirety was on a road trip to Santa Cruz. Like no joke, it really was.
How many people were in this car? Because maybe Travis was there.
It was the same ride.
Whoa.
It was mind blowing and unforgettable. And here I am, about to perform the song on the stream.
I know, it's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool to work on.
It almost feels like we're in a Cram Civic right now.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Are you sure you were on the one and not the Boulevard of Broken?
Okay.
So good. I'm glad I
forever.
ruined it. I'm very happy to have ruined it. Is there anything we need to know going into it?
Well, the lead arrangement is in standard tuning, no capo required. The rhythm chart does require a capo, but the lead covers the tremolo guitar work throughout the song, as well as the octave work, which I guess kind of could be heard as a solo piece. But yeah, there's a lot of jumping around between 2-note power chords and octaves higher up the neck or down the neck. But yeah, it's all pretty accessible. It's just a well-written, well-packaged tune. Yeah, super fun to play.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The bass part is your standard bass part. It's pretty simple, and it keeps that backbeat going the entire time. It's really a driving bass line, which for me is I always love giving those to my students because they're like, I don't want to do this, and then once they figure it out, they're like, oh, it's actually really clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without further ado, I think we should maybe play the note track and see what's clever about it, and yeah.
All right, that sounds great.
Here comes Boulevard of Broken Dreams. And I'm Casey Casey. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's only me and I walk alone. I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one and I walk alone. empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one. And I walk up, my shadow's the only one who walks beside me. My shadow, heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone there will find me. Tell me
I love that ending. Every
so
time.
cool. Yeah.
Such a great ending.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great job, you two. Seriously.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Super fun.
Wow, 96 and 99.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
I was off by 1 fret for one thing. I was like, oh, I got it.
Well, keep chasing that dragon. I think, what a great tune. I have to comment on something that I observed when we got to the tremolo section, the tremolo notes, not the tremolo tone, which we'll talk about the distinction between those two.
Right.
I was impressed with how relaxed you were through tremolo. When I play tremolo, I know that I do the wrong thing, which is like I tense up and I'm like, I'm gonna go fast, and then like everything's tight through here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you were. I was impressed. There was no tension in your arm. Can you speak to that intention?
He can't actually.
I really can't. Yeah, so I actually didn't play that part with a pick.
Really?
Yeah,
cool.
You're talking about the outro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't. I just used my thumb and index finger.
That is
and it's
interesting.
it's more relaxing. I can play octaves, I guess, more efficiently that way. There's less resistance because I can. Oh, nice! I got the sound going.
Yeah, show us what the how different it is sonically, or even.
Sure. So I mean, it's definitely not as clean sounding as it is when you play it with a pick. So that was with a pick. This is without. It's less defined.
But I mean, that's kind of the tremolo. Sometimes it's like measured, where it's supposed to be like where it's like very even, and sometimes it's just supposed to be an effect where we just want to keep the sound going, and we want to have attack, but not in a necessarily defined rhythmic equal cadence. If that makes sense.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm basically just going back and forth between my thumb and index finger, and I'm twisting my wrist like this, and it's just easier for me to play tremolo octaves in that way, and it keeps things relaxed, less resistance. I'm not really. I feel like I would tense up if I were to play that part, just naturally if I played it with a pick, because I'm thinking about holding it and keeping it secure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of funny that Brian, you should mention that if you were to do that technique, that you would tense up naturally, because as many of you know, Brian's a percussionist, and we've played in several like orchestral performances together, and I've watched you do drum rolls, really complicated mallet percussion maneuvers where you're moving extremely fast and you're doing basically the same technique but with sticks that are about a foot away from the instrument. And I've never seen you more relaxed than when you're doing that. And it's this concept in, I think, a lot of techniques. The faster you go, the more relaxed you have to be.
Yeah.
Because that cost of tension becomes very high.
Sure.
Yeah. And I will admit that me being a percussionist primarily, that I've broken myself out of those bad habits a lot. I've worked on them a lot more than I have on my guitar and bass technique, and so I'm still I'd say I'm at an intermediate level when it comes to guitar playing, and so I haven't necessarily applied those.
But it's
that same
interesting because
discipline.
the advice that you would give as a teacher for a percussion student would be
Yeah.
the same that a guitar teacher would give to a guitar student. Or for me as a string player with a bow, I would give the exact same advice. If you want a very fast and very clean tremolo, you have to relax.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just it also just in general, it's a bad idea to play with a lot of tension.
Right.
I know Anthony has spoken on the stream before about the physical impairments that you can do, and he talks about the importance of stretching. But yeah, if you play tense, that tension and that friction can come through in the sound. Not to get too holistic about it, but the more relaxed you are, the more effortless it is. The music will sound more effortless and more
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, music is an expression of our bodies. It's all an extension, right?
Yeah.
The more relaxed you are, the more relaxing music will be. A great maxim, I guess, a great sort of idiom that I got from a teacher once was, you can play well with a lot of tension, right? It's possible. A lot of people do it. But there's a cost, right? So the question becomes, do you want to play right now or do you want to play forever?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Because if you want to play something really loud, really fast, right now without working on it, you can. It's very easy to do. It's hard to do well, but you can force yourself to do it. If you want to be able to do that well and forever, you need to relax.
Great advice. I hope everyone heard that and takes it home and applies it. Anthony, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, whenever I perform, I have to remind myself to breathe, to take deep breaths, and it's easy to for me to forget to do that, especially if I'm about to play a solo or something that's fast moving. It's easy to get caught up in that and forget about what your body is doing.
It's the number one thing for me with a student where when we address breath, they have the most improvement in a single sort of action. Right? There's so many things where it's like, oh, your hand has to be here, and you have to have your feet like this, and very very specific technique things. I move the instrument. This makes sense. Yeah. A lot of times, it takes a long time for those to set in. However, usually, a fairly not so great performance from a student is solved by saying, "Hey, let's breathe together," and we breathe through the music, and suddenly it sounds great.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's the most bang for the buck. Breathing is huge.
Yeah. Wow, that is great advice. Is there anything specific to the song else that we want? I mentioned the tremolo effect, and there is a specific question from the audience about that. Is it much harder to note track parts that have such heavy effects on them, like the intro with the tremolo, for example?
That is an interesting question. I don't think so. I think the toughest part.
The effect.
Yeah, I think delay probably has a harder time.
Sure.
that.
I mean, if by note tracking you mean transcribing, then
Yes.
yeah, it is tough to cut through the mix and identify what's going on.
Yeah.
But it just once that part is figured out, it's easy to arrange it and level it and present it in a way that'll allow people to learn it.
Did you note track "No Rain" by Blind Melon?
I did. That was an oldie but goodie.
I think so. This was back when Anthony first started, probably back in 2012.
Thanks for starting with that, because the delay
I think the
effect.
delay effect.
Yeah.
I think I actually misguided Anthony and had him note track some things that were and you were like, actually no, I think that's just the delay. It's not a reattack. It's just a delay effect where you kind of hear it softer a second time. It's not playing the note twice.
It was just tough it was very tough to call, and that's actually a great example of just. I mean, you could play it as notated in game, and it would sound like the recording.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's just the effect. It's that delay.
Yeah.
And there's a
So
big
we encounter
curveball.
that. And also if there's a lot of effects that change. Obviously, if there's a wah pedal effect, and you're kind of changing the overtone series and things are sounding an octave up, and there's a lot of swishiness is the best word I can use to describe it. And that it can be hard to kind of tell what's going on in those. And then in those situations, we make our best educated guess based on what we know about fretboard knowledge, basically.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the entire note tracking team has one sort of major focus, and that's always what best serves the music, what best serves the player.
Yeah.
Right.
And is it fun, and is it instructive?
Of course.
Yeah.
Which they all feed into each other.
Absolutely. So that was Leo Wongsta who asked that question. So thank you for submitting that, Leo Wongsta. He's a regular. I think he might be even in Colombia,
Oh,
if
awesome.
I remember correctly. Do artists ever help out with note tracking more directly? That is a question from Darth Ducky.
That's such a great handle.
So, actually, there was a time when Brendan Small gave us a couple of tips. So when we were working on the Death Clock pack, we wanted to represent his music as accurately as possible, just like we treat all of the music in game. But we had we had direct contact with him, and I think it was through Dan and our licensing team. And he suggested that we check out the tab book because he actually worked with Hal Leonard.
To make sure that those were totally accurate.
Exactly.
And a lot of people ask us often, hey, do you all just look up the tabs online, or are you just buying the tab books? And the thing is, while we can use those things as resources, just like anything on the internet, like a lot of things, anyone can put anything, and accuracy and quality varies wildly. So we don't trust everything that we come across on the internet when it comes to tabs or things like that. But when the artist themselves says, hey, I supervise this and this has my stamp of approval, we definitely give it some merit, or we heed that his advice.
Right. And the notes, the rhythmic phrasing, everything in that book was accurate, but we found that some of the positioning was actually different. And that was through looking at live performances, just spending the time researching, what Brendan Small does on stage. How does he actually play this part?
Yeah, and it could have been a situation where he played it differently in the studio than he does live,
absolutely.
which we already addressed and talked about. But yeah, we are also blessed in the fact that we have strength in numbers here, that we use each other as a resource. We review each other's transcriptions, and also we've been at this for such a long time. I mean, we're at over 1,100 pieces of DLC. I actually don't know where the count is now. Elliot, that's a good time for you to chime in. But I don't know where. But we've been at this for such a long time, and we've gotten pretty good at it to a point. But we are humans. We make mistakes, and we catch each other's mistakes along the way. But yeah,
it's definitely a team sport.
It absolutely is. Absolutely.
Wow, Darth Ducky, thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you, Darth Ducky. Yeti Soap Maker asks.
I love that.
So I wonder if that's a Yeti making soap or a person who makes soap from Yetis.
I think
or for Yetis.
I mean, they probably need
Yetis.
Probably need
so many options.
Let's just talk about.
Let's talk about this handle.
Let's talk about this. And not get to the question. Do you have any tips for playing palm mutes for the 3 high strings? I can't get it to sound right. And
so the really easy.
I think it's a guitar question. Travis, why don't you sit this one out, pal? Sit out the next round.
For me, it depends on what I'm playing, and it's trial and error. I try to move my palm. Hopefully, you can see this. Okay. So if say I'm just trying to play this D minor triad, palm muted here. There are varying degrees of palm mutedness, I guess, depending on where you position your palm along the bridge here. So, you could have something that's like, semi-muffled, or something that's... And I'm sure you heard that that one attack was sort of out of pitch, it was out of tune. And so, that's something to look out for, too, when you're palm muting. You don't want to press down on the strings too hard or move too high or separate yourself from the bridge too much. I would just recommend, lining up your palm here.
The meat of the palm,
with the bridge here. Start there, and then work your way closer to like the nearest pickup, and just practice attacking, and go back and forth and see, what sounds better to you. It's it's really all trial and error. Every instrument's different too, so that's something to take into consideration. But hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, and if it sounds good, it is good. So
right.
So use your ears.
Yeah. Another great advice from a bass teacher was I had a piece I was playing it in a very weird way, and I was like, well, is this the way I should be playing it? And he was like, sure. And I was like, no, like, is this the way it's played? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, no, you're like a master bass player. You have to tell me. And he was like, look, I'll give you the advice that my teacher at Juilliard told me. If it sounds like that and you played it with your left foot, I'd be fine.
So.
Yeah.
So take off your shoes and start strumming with your left foot. That's what I hope. That's what you guys take away from this, you guys and girls out there. So, so I think that's going to do it for the Q&A section. Thank you all for submitting your cues. I hope these were satisfactory A's.
It's very fun.
So, in case you missed it, we've done 2 other Green Day packs. We did the first one not long after we launched Rocksmith 2014. We had Basket Case off of Dookie, did the title track, American Idiot, from that record. And we did Oh Love, which was a new single at the time. And on the disc was X-Kid, so you already have that. Every person who owns Rocksmith has X-Kid. Then we did a Green Day 2 right before Christmas in 2016. It was the last DLC of the year, and we had Long You from the Dookie record. Bang Bang, which was a track from 2016, so it was brand new, and it was a huge hit on the radio for a long time. 21 Guns, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life off of Nimrod, and Wake Me Up When September Ends. That was so those are all of the other Green Day songs that are available outside of the Green Day 3-pack, which we are showcasing currently. We also have some of the songs from the Green Day 3-pack available on iOS, and that is the Green Day Song Bundle. We have Holiday, Know Your Enemy, Jesus of Suburbia, and Welcome to Paradise. I will be very transparent about this. Boulevard of Broken Dreams is not on there because we did not support capos, but that is coming soon. So there's that. That came out this week. Additionally, we have a pack from Australia from Airborne. We have Runnin' Wild, Blonde, Bad, and Beautiful, and Too Much, Too Young, Too Fast. If you want to pull up that slide, there it is. So that's the Airborne song pack. That pack is super fun to play. I really encourage you to check it out if you haven't had a chance to yet. So that's on deck for Rocksmith on iOS this week, and let's see. We have some new faces for today. We have Brian Pody on my left and Jason Kokel.
Hello.
Both note trackers, both great guys.
Oh.
So, which one of you two did this one?
I did.
All right, so we're going to play Jesus of Suburbia.
That's right.
Before we even play it, we got a question before the stream even started. Question for the stream in light of Jesus of Suburbia song. When playing bar chords for an extended period of time, my wrists become very sad. I'd love any technique tips to prevent that. And that question came to us from Overrude.
I think the key is to not be too rude. And going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago, just trying to stay relaxed and not tense up. If you tense up, you're going to kill yourself. So a bit of that is just practice and getting used to playing
release
those
the
shapes.
tension in that shape. Don't try not to hold a lot of tension in your wrist when you're playing those bar chords.
Yeah, you're not trying to strangle the guitar.
Yeah, and if you are experiencing pain, stop.
Yeah.
Do not play through the pain. That's where the damage really happens. It's not like extreme sports or like oh, you have to give up everything for your craft, but don't damage yourself to where you can't actually play the instrument anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Take breaks, stretch before you play. That's going to be a big one too.
Yeah.
And also it's just like, it's going to seem simple, but just practice. You have to put in the time. You have to play consistently. When you get tired, stop, and then maybe take a break or a long break, or just wait until the next day. Or just change the type of song that you're playing if you're at your limit.
Yeah, some of it can be, position of the instrument too. Like
yes, definitely. So let's talk about that.
If it's way down here, it's a lot harder to reach these chords. I mean, Green Day plays lower than that, but they're used to it. Whereas if you play up here in more like classical position and your wrist position is better, it's much easier to play those chords than if you're playing them like that.
Definitely tinker with where you're holding the guitar on your body and think about that. And if you're holding a chord and you're in some kind of unnatural shape, maybe consider shifting, pulling the neck up closer to your body, shortening the strap. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us actually play with the guitar fairly high, or, Sam pretty much always plays with it in this position as opposed to over here.
Yeah, and Brendan West does the same thing. He definitely defaults to classical guitar, nylon guitar, which is very entertaining and amusing. Thank you, Overrude, for submitting that question before the show started. I'm glad we got to it. So there are a lot of bar chords in this 9-minute and 20-second odyssey. So what are we in for?
A lot of bar chords. It's got a lot of different parts. It kind of surprised me in that, there's a lot of variety in the song. You can't be like, oh, well, it's just got these 3 things, and it does it again and again and again. It really changes up and moves a lot of different places.
Anything, Kokol, anything from the bass that we need to know?
Yeah, I think with the bass, each section of the song is like its own self-contained thing. It's like 4 or 5 songs in one. And so I think once you get to each part for the bass, once you know that part, it does kind of wrap around and somewhat repeat before it moves on to the next part where you are kind of also doing that, a new theme for a little while. So I think stamina is the thing that can sort of kill you on bass with this one. And it says that it's played with a pick, so I'm going to play it with a pick. I'm going to do it just as Mike Dirnt has played it.
Yeah.
So,
which is a name he earned based on the way his bass sounded. It's not his.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about tuning earlier, and the first song we played being the only one that was in E flat. The rhythm guitar chart for this song is actually also in E flat.
Oh, fair enough.
There's a lot of open cowboy chord shapes on the acoustic guitar, and they're clearly played in a guitar on E flat.
Okay, good to know. So if you're going to play the rhythm, make sure you retune.
Yep.
Otherwise, it'll sound horrible.
But live, they play it in E standard.
Oh, well. Another case of studio is different from the live performance. So,
well, that's why the lead guitar is in E standard, because that's the part that they play live.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Well, since we have a 9-minute and 20-second odyssey ahead of us, I think we should just get on to it. This is Jesus of Suburbia, available now in Rocksmith Remastered. Good luck, gentlemen.
All new edition.
Jesus of Suburbia, the Bible of the outlaw, stay tied up. Started popping riddle line. Now I never died for my sins. Stories I can't tell. It's the words I got away with. And there's nothing wrong with me. This is how I'm supposed to be. Facts. Sitting on my crucifix, I live in a room. On my private wall, double drops and flies away.
Oh, and to follow up on what we were talking about earlier, this album went 6 times platinum in the U.S.
Oh, thank you for answering that.
Kind of rescue.
Close.
Good enough.
It's a marathon, isn't it?
Yeah. This is a nice break.
Tales from another broken.
Wow, really stuck that landing, didn't you?
I thought it kept going.
Well, it was admirable that you were trying to play from memory there at the end, but I don't think it's a tall order to try to memorize a 9-minute and 20-second tune. But great job, both of you. Really, really great work. Jason Kolko got 1,049 note streak. Congratulations.
Nice. Thanks. I do not know how that happened.
It happened through your fingers playing the right notes at the right time for 1,049 songs. Notes. Yeah. Well, great work, you two. Is there anything that you want to add to what we already talked about before we played? Besides wanting to add more notes to the end of the song, is there anything you want to add?
It should keep going. Not really. I mean, my hand's starting to cramp up too.
Yeah.
After
did you
playing
stretch
for that
before you
long.
played?
Oh God, no.
Should you stretch before you play?
Probably. The thing I've found is if you start doing it and then you don't, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I just stopped.
Well, learn from Pody, everybody. Coco, was there anything else about the bass that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I mean, so if you are feeling fatigued, try using different fingers. It breaks up the monotony.
Yeah.
That's what I started doing a little bit through. I was like, this is starting to wear on my hands for a bit, so I'm just going to pick a little lighter. It's all compressed anyway, so, if I picked a little lighter, it was still going to come through. And then, so sometimes if it was stuck in this position, I started just moving it around, and then that was enough to give my hand some relief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to playing loud death metal for an hour, and I don't really get tired doing that. Sometimes I do it, but especially if it's a really repetitive part. But those songs are shorter. This is kind of a beast of a song, so you just pace yourself.
Yeah. Well, great work, you two. And I think we have one more giveaway. If we want to get going on that, here we have the Ernie Ball prize pack again. Same items as before, but I'll say it in reverse order. We have some Wonder Wipes, which I definitely recommend you use on your instrument, and I gave that whole spiel earlier about maintaining your instrument and making it a welcoming thing to interact with. We have a peg winder, which makes it much easier to wind up your pegs whenever you're replacing the strings. Conveniently, we have 2 sets of strings, the regular slinky for bass and the regular slinky for guitar. We have some Ernie Ball picks and the Rocksmith pink Skullboy picks and an Ernie Ball strap. So that is what we have. If you follow UB Vertigo's instructions in the chat, this could be yours, and we will ship to anywhere. So that will about do it for us. We have... I do have, Pody, I was wondering if you could pull up that picture, because I mentioned it before, and we have it, right? Yeah, there it is, and I'll try to, whoop. Yeah, so that's me on the far left with Liz Luke, who runs Undercover Presents, and then Green Day is there, and 2 other people. One of them is the mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaff, and the other one is a woman who works for 924 Gilman, which is a punk all ages, no alcohol venue where Green Day played when they were teenagers. And the show we did was all part benefit for that venue. So it's kind of where Green Day got their start. And the reason the mayor is there is that we had her do a mayoral proclamation to declare February 19th, 2016 as Green Day Day in Oakland. And so that was all part of that Undercover Presents Dookie project that I was was the music director for. So that's been a couple years at this point. Highlight of my life. I wanted to share that, just a little tidbit with you before we take off. I'm sure there are a lot of comments about my jacket, but yes, I still have it. But yeah, thank you all for coming to the stream. We're going to show the trailer one more time. Thank you for stopping by. Next week we will have Dan Amrick back in the office for XYZ DLC. That's not the name of the band. Those are just variables. We will have more DLC. We are still going strong. It's 2018. It's a new year, and we are not stopping anytime soon. So we'll be back next week. We look forward to interacting with you and chatting with you. So keep submitting your questions. Follow us on social media, and we'll see you next week. Here's the trailer.
A gunshot rings out at the station. Another urchin snaps and left dead on his own. It makes me wonder why I'm still here. But some strange dreams and it's now feeling like my home, and I'm never gonna go. Pay attention to the guts return the broken homes. Some call it some call it nice. I wanna take you through a wasteland I'd like to call my own. Welcome to paradise. Overthrow the apathy, the vast majority will burn and gather forming of control. The silence is an enemy that gets your urgency to rally up the demons of your soul. Do you know the enemy? Do you know your enemy? Well, gotta know the enemy. Do you know the enemy? Do you know your enemy? Well, gotta know the enemy. Insurgency will rise when the blood's been sacrificed. Don't be blinded by the lights in your eyes. Say! It didn't say much, but it only confirmed that the center of the earth is the end of the world. And I can really care less. City of the dead, at the end of another lost highway. Signs misleading to nowhere. City of the dead. I'm sure with dirty faces today. No one really seems to care. Hey! I don't care if you don't. I don't care if you don't. I don't care if you don't care. I beg to dream and differ from the hollow lies. This is the dawning of the rest of our lives. I beg to dream and differ from the hollow lies. This is the